Welcome back to episode 1 of the Murphy Boys podcast with your hosts, Justin Linden and Insung Lee.
Today we'll be joined by a pair of special guests, Murphy Basketball League all-time leading scorer, Christopher Dr. Lopez, and star forward, Garret Bean Simmons. How are you guys doing today?
Well, I got to tell you, Song, I'm doing fantastic. This quarantine is preventing me from doing my 8-hour long practices, and I'm cutting them short to 4 hours, of course.
Only 8 hours to start with?
Well, you see, I want to keep it entertaining. I don't want to keep being the leading scorer and undermine my competition.
How are you doing, Garret?
Could be worse. Because Chris is a simp, obviously. I think 8-hour practices are pretty short, but
you're not wrong.
For 12-hour practices.
To start it off, can you guys talk about the effects of COVID-19 on the league?
Well, it's obviously a disappointing turnout, but you got to look on the bright side. There's a whole lot of more time to practice, get better, get ready for when the next game starts.
But we want to hear from our players. You have anything to add, Chris?
Nothing really. Garrett's not really a competition to me, so he can call me a simp, but I get those hoes.
So going back to you, Garret, and kind of your preparation for the next tournament, how have you been kind of coming back off of that tough injury?
Well, you see, when you've been teaching Chris's dad a lesson of how to run the paint, and you teach Chris how to actually play defense, it's pretty easy to come back from any injury, really.
How long was the road to recovery?
Well, when you're an all-time great, it's really not that long.
Understandable.
To be honest.
Do you think that injury will have any effect on your future performances in the tournament?
Absolutely not. I think I'll put up double my statistics. I expect at least 3 triple-doubles coming into next tournament.
Well, actually, I'd like to add a comment there because it is affecting your vertical from the 70-inch bounce vert that you had to 68. Now, can you comment on how you think that it did not affect you?
Well, you see, it has improved my perimeter defense. It also improved my three-point shooting, which clearly someone here needs to work on.
And we'll get back to that later.
Hey.
So actually, we wanted to talk about Chris and his constant trash talking and his ability to intimidate opponents. He's always talking, always communicating on the court. Seems to play some mental games, always getting his opponents' heads. So can you tell us more about that?
So I don't want anyone to think that I'm the bad guy here. It's just a part of the game. I like to add it to my game. Especially, do you know one of the players, Ian Connolly?
Mm-hmm.
Especially my favorite one is
a well-known veteran.
The one that Nate gave me, called the Fennel Zone, when he got friend zoned by Megan Fennel.
That was an event that happened back in 2017, was it not?
Yes, it was.
Very iconic moment.
I was very surprised at the moment and very joyful that I experienced it.
So, Chris,
only real veterans will remember.
Of course. Chris, do you look towards other NBA players for inspiration in your trash talking, such as Patrick Beverley?
No, I would never stoop so low. They're obviously inferior. I don't even have to trash talk to when I run games with NBA players because, I beat them 21-0.
Can you talk more about the time you beat Michael Jordan 21-2?
Yeah, it was very disappointing. I wanted to beat him 22-0, but I didn't respect his mid-range, and he made it. So then I proceeded to break his ankles, and that's why he had to leave that season and then come back for this return.
I see. It wasn't really baseball that you left basketball for.
Well, can I ask you a question? How the fuck did you let Michael Jordan score 2 points on you? What?
As I told you before,
can you just explain in detail? I just want to.
The mid-range shot was.
I just want to know how you let a NBA talent score on an MBL player. Can you please elaborate?
Well, he is the best NBA player.
I just can't wrap my mind around that.
He's the best NBA player, and so I had to pity him for it. I couldn't really just let him lose 21-0. You know, he had a franchise and everything. He's also the GOAT of that league. So, as another
Well,
GOAT of my league, you know, I got to respect the boundaries, you know.
while that might not be true, we also do know that Jordan is okay at finishing around the rim. Can you tell us about your ability to finish around the rim, get crafty, use both hands? Because that seems to be your best skill.
Well, you
Tell us
see,
about how you worked on it.
I wasn't really always a shooter. And I
You're
like,
not.
Yeah, you can say that
All right,
again.
carry on.
well, actually, I've beaten you at multiple competitions in shooting. But I
All
just
right.
like finishing in the paint because it's just fun for me to beat the defender, especially break their ankles, look back, and then do a little hezzy cross to a fillet, as you know, signature move.
Of
If
course,
you
Chris.
get
Oh yeah, Chris. I've noticed in many of your games, you tend to use the backboard a lot, especially in the paint. Can you discuss like where you learned that as a kid? Like, was that from intramurals? Were you taught that by a coach? Just kind of using the backboard around?
Well, now you mentioned that, do you know the legend Poppy Lopez?
we have heard of
I'm
him, we've yet to
unfamiliar.
Well,
see him on the court, but he's a legend for
he's
sure.
actually the first one to teach me how to use the backboard. He's helped me multiple times in games. A lot of finishing moves were used of the backboard. But I'd say that it was a 50-50. I kind of taught myself it.
Of course.
If you get one move to win the game, what are you going to? What's your move?
Well, AI kind of stole my move. You know, the one that he used at Jordan.
Of course.
So that was my original signature move, but I kind of added, you know, Jamal Crawford's like hezzy behind the back to the lay
Oh, I
with
love that
that
move.
cross.
Great move, great move.
I actually inspired that move for him. He had to practice multiple hours just to master it. Took me like 2 minutes. But yeah, that's my signature move right there.
We'll be looking for that in the next tournament. Now, Garrett, we wanted to ask you about you expanding your game as of late. So we've seen you working on your three-point shot and finishing with both hands. Can you talk a little bit more about how you're trying to become a more dynamic player?
Well, you see the league's changing a lot. I really noticed that three-pointers are being used a lot more. They're become a very valuable asset, so I can't be the only one in the league that just can't shoot at all. So, you know, and obviously using two hands, it's obviously become a great advantage. I look forward to using that in my games.
Not every player is able to finish
yeah.
with both hands in this day and age.
Yeah.
So we wanted to ask you guys one player each of you guys would like to play with in the future.
You
get one pick in the next tournament.
I'll let
Who's it
Garrett
going to
go
be?
first. I'll let Garrett go first because mine might come to a surprise.
Interesting. Garrett?
Let me think. I would like to play with Ian Connolly, probably.
Really?
Ian Connolly, really?
I think we
Isn't
have
he the worst
a lot of-
player in NBL
Well, you
history?
see, I think we have a lot of chemistry, even though we've never played a game together. And
That is an
you
interesting
see, if I get every
feel like
single
he's a-
rebound, I could just pass to him.
Stroke?
Would you say you pity him because he hasn't won a championship yet?
Well, he hasn't had the best teammates in his defense, and his socks have been ripped countless times. And he also has a lot of Slurpees before the game, so I think if he cuts down on those habits, we'll have the perfect match. And, you know, that should be it.
Those soft
So this
are always
could be that is true. So this could be a team we see in the future. And Chris, the teammate you'd like to see match up with
So
you?
many of you would think that I'd probably want to play with a great player since I've been playing with the so-called last seeds. But I actually want to play with Nate Wynn
Oh, really? The
because
whitest man on earth.
Interesting.
an illness prevented me from going to the tournament where I was paired up with Nate, as you guys know.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of left him there dry with former NBL player Anthony Eastman, who
That was
was
quite a tough showing.
probably the worst player at the time. And I would just like to get Nate the well-deserved champion that he was going to get with me.
It's hilarious because you weren't going to beat our team.
Well, actually, me and Nate were the favorites and also the most skilled on the court. As you can see, nobody can stop me. Not even your all-defensive
But yeah.
playing
We were not the
machine.
favorites, but that's because Kai was a rookie. No one knew how good Kai was.
Kai was
Kai did have a breakout season.
pretty booty actually that season. If you
All
didn't
right,
have, if you didn't use your defense, he probably would have lost first round.
I don't know.
we
Kai put up
held
some
team to
eye-opening numbers.
single digits.
Yeah. Kai's become quite a cornerstone in this league, I have to say.
That is true. With his height and his length.
Insong, you're a statistical expert,
Versatility.
right?
Oh my goodness. He's going from three, he's in the mid-range, he's going to the basket, he's doing everything around there.
What was that, Garrett?
Well, actually,
You're pretty good with statistics,
last
right?
tournament, I scored 19 on him.
Really?
But who
That's
won?
amazing because you lost.
Well, I didn't really have a good teammate, per se. Like, he really couldn't score.
Really?
Sorry, Justin.
We'll leave that
You have to
teammate
score when
unnamed.
you don't pass them the ball.
Oh, but I already said it. What?
Oh.
I passed the ball
No. I believe that
times,
teammate,
actually.
Only
And so
3 times?
were some moments where he could have scored.
it's true, of course, dude. From behind the 3-point line covered, I mean, it could have gone in any way. But I believe that your teammate did set the MBL league record in assists in a game. But
That is true.
That might be true as well.
His assist did help first round and a little bit in the second round. But I'd say I needed a score.
So, Chris, are you saying you had no fault? You had no blame in that loss?
I'm not gonna lie, I was reviewing the film and there was 2 more instances where I could have passed to Justin, but you know,
that's right.
as the ace of the team, you have to step up.
We're looking ahead to the future tournament now. And to transition from that, I know that you guys are aware of our transition from a 2-on-2 type of game to 3-on-3. Do you have any concerns or thoughts about that?
Honestly,
yeah.
I think that it would be entertaining because so far we've just been doing 2v2s, and some 3v3s might get some plays in because 2v2s is pretty hard to run some pretty like in-depth plays.
It's a good point. It's a good point. Your thoughts, Garrett?
A little concerned with the size of the court. You see, Murphy, it's obviously optimal for 2-on-2. 3-on-3s might be a little compact, but it should work.
Fair point.
Do you think this will affect you, especially as a more primarily like paint type player, to have an extra player in there?
Yeah, crowded space.
Nah, I don't see it as a problem. Whoever I'm up against, I will dominate them in the paint. I'll get double-doubles.
Do you see anyone
Looking-
being able to block you in the paint?
As of now, absolutely not.
Do you think...
I think that's wrong because I remember 2 weeks ago in a practice run, me blocking you, actually pinning you.
I can say the same about you when I swatted the shit out of you.
Well, you see,
ball
we just
rolled all
did
the way
some
to
exchange
7-Eleven.
blocks. Well, I beg to differ about that, but I do remember winning the practice run.
Garrett, game on the line.
I'm not sure about
You get the ball in the post. You catch. You start to post up. If Chris or Kai is on you, you get the bucket?
It depends. If Chris is on me, I could probably outjump him, make it in. Kai's on me. Depending on my teammate, I'll likely pass out to him for a 3-point shot.
Smart play, smart play. Now, for you guys, for your predictions as to who will be a surprise or dark horse in the next tournament. It can be players, it can be teams, whatever predictions you guys have. You can drop them, whatever you guys have.
I predict Ian will lose first round again.
Mm-hmm.
It's a bold prediction.
Can you predict his 3-point percentage?
Well, it's going to be obviously below 50% because he takes too many step-back threes, which is just not in his play style. But I say he's going to be hitting some game-changing shots in the beginning, and then right after 10, he's just going to be missing everything.
That has been a trend we've seen. Any other predictions you have?
Well, Insung Lee, the current reigning shooter, in some practice runs, he's been underperforming in his shooting lately. I don't know what's going on if he's just not taking the 10,000 shots he usually takes every day. But I'd like to see more from him because I'm seeing not really a good path right now.
Actually, he's been expanding his game. Working on every aspect of it, working on the mid range.
That is
Working on
very
finishing.
true. His lays are pretty nice, but I was discussing with Garrett, and we both know one of his weaknesses that we are going to exploit if we match up against him.
I don't know. His left hand is pretty lethal. Once you let him get left, he's gonna finish that.
Well, then we just don't push him to the left.
All right. Well, so Garrett, do you have any predictions on who may be the dark horse of the next tournament?
Any players,
What
team,
does that mean?
anyone that's gonna surprise. Have like a come out game.
Oh, come out game. Well, I don't know who exactly do we know is going to play in the next tournament.
Of the players we know, you could be one of them. In fact, you, Justin, Chris, me, Ian, Carter, Kai, Matt, Dan, and a couple of staple players we've seen before.
Yeah, the MBL has not released a full statement yet.
I could definitely see Carter having a blowout game. He definitely brought Adrian to the finals. Still unclear whether or not he could have beaten Chris, but we have yet to determine that.
That is true. That is true.
I have no idea because we still have to determine who the captains of these teams are going to be.
Are you confident you'll be able to lead your team to a championship?
Well, I don't know. If I'm not a captain, I feel like I'll be drafted pretty early.
That's a fair statement.
Whoever is the fourth seed, I have no idea. Could be In-Song Lee, which I'm not sure. Haven't played with him in about 3 years. Our games have changed quite a bit.
That run. That was a finals-bound team in the first ever tournament.
Yeah.
If you recall, I
know.
remember beating that finals team.
That is true. It was an unfortunate loss to the Boneless Ballers.
That was a dark point in history.
Well,
That was probably the tournament that made my franchise.
Garrett will look to turn it around. Justin, any thoughts?
Well, actually, I'm thinking since I'm going to be captain, if Garrett's able to be one of the people I can pick, just saying it might be a super team.
All right, so now looking back at the history
that's not happening.
MBL, looking back at the history of the MBL, what would you guys say was the most dominant team?
That's a great question. Most dominant team of all time.
Throughout
Probably
MBL
me, Kai.
history.
Could it be the ones that could have been two?
Of course, the most dominant team.
Well, it depends on the era because really everyone's been changing their skill set. People have been either decreasing or increasing their skills.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say Kai and Garrett would be a filthy team. Now.
Mm-hmm.
Nowadays.
Yes.
Well,
Kai's been getting really, really good, and Garrett has obtained a perimeter shot.
That is
But,
true. That is true.
I'd say the best team of all time would have been me and Nate.
What could have been, but didn't happen because you bailed.
At that time, Nate was the second best player. And I was
going to have to disagree with you.
An unfortunate illness.
Oh, Garrett has a disagreement?
Kai and Nate, that might have been the greatest team of all time, to be honest.
I don't know. That was a lockout shortened tournament. It was
yeah.
We had a player leave mid game due to personal reasons. That was unfortunate.
Some say it was a contract.
Still pretty good.
But the MBL doesn't mess up like that. So
do we know who this player that left early?
We'll leave him unnamed. Henry Lewis. We'll leave him unnamed. That was also Justin's debut, first MBL tournament.
Oh, wow.
With Garret Bean. That was cool. That was a while ago.
Yeah, it's crazy to think how far I've developed since then.
You even hit a circus shot, leaning one leg off a long pass,
Oh,
three-pointer.
it's true. I still remember that moment. The wind, everything there. I remember. I can recall it exactly. One of the
One of
most
the greatest
legendary
shots in
moments.
basketball history. It's great.
Absolutely.
All right. Anything you guys want to add before we wrap up?
I'd just like to say out there to my fans, at least a billion of them, to just keep working like me, and maybe you can be the best in the league.
Any closing thoughts, Garrett? Any refutes?
No, I expect to put up at least 12 points next tournament. At least 15 rebounds, 15 to 20.
Fair enough. We'll hold you to that.
Yep. Of course.
All right. I think this is a good spot to wrap it up. Thank you guys for sparing your precious time.
Yeah, this has been fun. Thank you guys for coming out here, and yeah, we can't wait to see you guys in the tournament.
All right. We'll see you guys next time.